Good afternoon, everyone. I am Camila, and I am here for the second seminar on leadership. Yesterday we started and we spoke a little bit about what leadership is, what leadership is not, because many of the times people have a wrong idea as to what leadership is. And I would once again say, for you that maybe is not in a position of leadership in the job, you are simply someone's employee, or you think that this is not for you, in actuality it is for you, because in all areas of our lives we occupy a position of leader or being led, and many of the times the two things in once. For example, in the family, you that is a husband, you take command and responsibility and authority over your family, your wife, your children, but also you are accountable and submit to God. So each one of us have to know what leadership is, how to use it, how we can win leadership so that we can better do our tasks, be it at home, in the church, in the job, etc. And so just to summarize, for the people that did not hear what I said yesterday, I would like to ask to place the second slide, please. What is leadership? What is leadership? Leadership is the capacity to obtain or influence people. The capacity that you and I, that any person has to obtain followers, to win the hearts of people. Leadership is not having a title. Leadership is not having a position or having a title of leadership. Leadership is not having people that are accountable to me or people that I give jobs and they do what I say. That is not leadership. It is part of leadership, but that is not the objective. That is not what it means, because I can give orders, I can give instructions, but not be a leader. Because if people do not recognize leadership in me, I am not a leader. So leadership is not something that I can impose. It is not something that I can force people to have credibility in me as a leader. It is something that should be recognized. And obviously this takes time. It is something that is not won from one day to the next. It is something that we might even be born with a specific talent to lead, and we can stand out in this area, but it has to be worked day after day so that we can grow. So what is the role of a leader? A leader has a very important role because he is going to dictate the success or the defeat of an organization, of a company, of a church, because their leadership is going to dictate the results that he's going to have. A leader has to create a vision, has to create an objective, a global objective, be it in a company, be it in the church, an objective that people can follow, a goal that everyone knows that they work towards that goal. I do my tasks so that I can reach this objective. And so there should be this culture and this vision, and everyone has to understand what is the purpose. A leader has to inspire his team. He has to motivate. He has to create inside them this spirit that they are part of the team, they have a vision, they have an objective. And we know that in our church, our mission is to go throughout the world, it is to preach the gospel and make disciples. And you do not make disciples if you do not have leaders, because there should be someone that is going to command the army, that is going to command that team. So a leader should also be a pastor and take care of his team, be it in the church, be it a leader of a family group, be it in your house. You are the wife, you are the husband, you are the leader. In a job, you are the department leader, and you lead a group of people. You have to take care of them and be a pastor to these people, because you are only going to win influence over people. We are only going to win followers when people see within us that we take care of them, that we pastor them, that we care for them. And in the Bible, it even says that Jesus says, be the one who governs as the one who serves. It is not greater the one sitting at the table to be served than the one serving. In other words, we are all the same. The leader has the responsibility of taking care of people that were entrusted to him. And so then we also saw the difference between a manager and a leader, a boss and a leader. I even showed an image in which at the top there was someone that was commanding this way, and he was telling a group of people to do a task. And in the other image, we saw this person going in front, going with his team, commanding his team, but he also helped his team. While a boss says, go and do this, a leader says, let's go, let's do this. A boss says, go there and do this, and does not show how it's done. But a leader, he explains, he shows, he teaches, he trains. Why? Because he makes disciples. While leaders create a vision, create a common goal, so that everyone can follow a direction, the manager or a boss, he simply creates an objective. It can be an objective, for example, this week we need to have X amount of money. Or in the family group, this week we have to have 3 salvations. Okay. The leader also gives numeric goals, but what is the vision? What is the final objective? And this should be in the heart of your team. The objective is always to preach the gospel and make disciples, and that is why these goals exist. And then the leaders, they take risks, while the managers, they just control the risks. The manager is someone that does things by the book. He does things just like the manual says. He doesn't leave that place. If he does not know how that will work, he does not want to go through that way. He does things how it's written. But the leader, many of the times, he takes risks. Because if he knows that if he does not try, the results are not going to change. He sometimes prefers to take risks in order to have the best results than staying the same. But a manager, he does not do that. He wants to do this. If that works, he does not want to change. He wants to continue doing the same thing. So it is someone that does not want to change. And a leader, he creates relationships, while a manager creates systems. A manager is always looking for ways for him to be able to have more results, more productivity, and render more. His focus are the results. But a leader focuses on the people. He focuses in building relationships. He focuses on uniting his team, because he knows that if his team is united, they are going to grow much more. If people are happy, if they have the right purpose in their hearts, if people know what their mission is, if the people know what their objective is, they are going to serve with more zeal. They are going to have a commitment with that team. They are going to be committed to that task. And the leaders, they train, as I have mentioned, while the managers give commands. They give commands, but they do not go out and show how it's done. But a leader, he goes out and shows how it's done. He follows that. He delegates, but does not abandon. And all of this makes all the difference, because we can only create disciples if we train people. And so someone that does not train, someone that does not show, someone that does not explain, he will never be able to make disciples. He's very limited. And so that is why we see that while leadership is focused on people that are the clay, the vase that God has given us, management is focused on results. And the two things are linked. The two things are important. But there is no use me having management and not having leadership. And I first have to train, work on my leadership, and then I can add management, using the tools that help me to impulse the growth, to grow more and more, and having more success. Okay? And we also saw 5 levels of leadership. There, to summarize, we have the leader of position. The person that maybe is new, simply has a title. People follow them because they have that title, he cannot influence anybody. And then we have the second level, that is the level of permission, where people already see, they trust a little bit, and they permit being led by that person. The third level is the leader of production. It is someone that produces results. It is someone that makes a family group grow. It is someone that has finances, that has salvations, and so they can already have results. But we also have level 4, that is a leader of reproduction. It is someone that makes disciples. It is someone that reproduces. It is someone that opens new works and places people. I'm going to open a family group here, already has a co-leader ready to take on that job because he created disciples. He trained these people in order for them to take on that task. And lastly, we have the leader of respect, which is someone that he too might not be directly linked to the organization. It is the example of Jesus. Jesus is not on this earth, but the gospel continues to be preached. The church continues to grow. Why? Because we respect. We have seen what Jesus has done. We believe in his work, and his disciples continue the work that he has done. So it is someone that could not be directly involved or does not belong to the organization directly, but because of all of the things that he already done, we see that they are fruits, that they reproduce, that they make things grow. So people have credibility in him, and he has a great capacity of influence or influencing people and obtaining followers. And we also saw how we should build a team. That a team, it should be a joining of various people that are united for the same purpose, for the same objective. A team is not individual people, Manel, Joaquim, João, Maria, no. It is all of us together. We have the same purpose, the same goal, the same vision. And the leader, he should know how to maximize the strong points and minimize the weak points. Because each person has their talents, all of us are different, and so the leader has to know how to analyze what are the strong points of each person, pull them up the maximum to give more fruits, and minimize the weak points so that they may be trusted, so that no one is scared of showing their flaws, so that no one is scared to make mistakes. Otherwise, we saw that if there is no trust in a team, there is no team. Trust is the basis. It is the first level that we should, or the first obstacle that we should conquer or overcome if we want a team of success. And then we have the fear of conflict. So if people are not free with one another, if they do not feel free to speak when things are not going well, and also to speak when things are good and when they do not agree, etc., there is no team because there is no unity. There is no trust. And we also saw that the lack of commitment is also a great problem. If someone does not have commitment, if a leader of a family group always comes late to church, Sundays he doesn't come to church, during the week he sees that the newly converted does not come to the family group, he does not call, does not ask if everything is okay, if he needs something, he does not have communion with the brothers or have coffee with them. If they do not have a commitment with the brothers of the family group, people are going to stop coming. And they will be unable to influence anyone or create a strong family group, because they too, if they are there or not, it's the same. And people notice all of this. And lastly, we saw that the lack of accountability is also a problem. If someone is always avoiding the accountability, never wants to make the formal meeting for some or other reason, this person should be substituted. Otherwise, we do not know what is going on. And inattention to results also. If we do not analyze results, how is the leader going to know which strategy to take, or which room he should go to, or which way he should take to grow faster and faster? So these 5 problems, these 5 dysfunctions that I spoke about, it is many of the times the origin of the problems of a team and the reason as to why a team does not work and does not grow and becomes stagnant. So simply just to remind what we spoke about yesterday, and we saw what is leadership, and today we are going to speak a bit more detailed about principles of leadership. And there are certain secrets that our apostle talks about and that helps us in order for us to grow more and more, that we may be able to go further. And I would like to ask them to place the 3rd slide, please. In first place, I would like to ask, who here has children? Be a father or mother who has children? Many people. And when you have a child, when he is a baby and they are just born, do they know how to eat? No. Do they know how to speak? Do they know how to walk? Do they know how to put on their shoes? So the father and mother, they are there to teach this child, this baby, transform them into adults, for them to grow, and one day they too are adults just like you. So if you are a father or mother, unconsciously you know how to make disciples, because you take a baby that does not know anything and transforms them into an adult. Better or worse, there comes a certain age that they can speak. There comes a certain age that they can put on their shoes, they know how to dress. They do not want the mother to help because they want to decide the clothes that they're going to use, especially the girls. They know how to write and know how to read, and furthermore learn how to cook. So he's transformed into an adult. So each one of us, better or worse, we know how to make disciples. All we need to do is put this into practice. And what do we do? And I placed here on the slide 4 steps in a way that is very easy, 4 steps for us to make disciples. The first step, you that is a leader, you start by doing things by yourself. You create that task and make the task by yourself, and you look for someone that is proactive, that is faithful, that is zealous, and you look for the person, the ideal person that you can train or disciple this person. So then you take this person and you do the job, but you teach, you show this person how it is done. You do the job, but you have this person looking and you explain and you show, and this person follows through, so they too can learn how to do things. And after that, after this person has the time to see, to learn, to understand how it's done, you are then going to let this person do the job, but you're going to follow them. You should never forget that you cannot abandon them. You should be there to help, to guide if they need help, so that you let them do it, but you are there. Just like a mother, when they teach a child to put on their shoes, for example, or to tie the shoelace, the mother goes there and places the shoe. And then it is the boy that starts doing this, but the mother is there looking and teaching them, listen, do this, tie this knot here and there, and that's it. And from there, when they are able to do it by themselves, they can take on that task. For example, he can now put on his own shoes. So if your disciples already knows how to do the task by himself, you can now delegate this task to the disciple. And by doing this, the leader is now free to go out and look for something else to do. So now they are free because they know that they have someone that is capable and is able to do the work. But obviously you are there, you supervise, you see that everything is well done, but you know that you can trust this person and they are able to do that task. And this principle, this process of creating disciples, our apostle has a book that only talks about this. It is very important. Let's imagine McDonald's or KFC or any company, any restaurant that has many franchises throughout the world. They had to create disciples. They had to look for shops, they had to look for places in every part of the world in order to open new work, and they had to train people in order to place these people there. They had to train cooks, managers, people to deliver in order for them to be able to reproduce. So if they would not make disciples or go after this in order to grow, they would simply have one shops where they started out. Until today, many of us would not know what is McDonald's or KFC, etc. So in church, we too have to use this principle. We have to learn with people that have success and apply this in our lives, in our house, in our work. Wherever we may find ourselves, we can apply these principles. So the process of making disciples, it is very important. Because there comes a time that if you do not grow through others, you are limited to your own capacity. The day only has 24 hours, and if you are the one doing everything, there comes a time that you reach your limit. But if you have more people collaborating, more people that help you, more people that also work to help you, you can reach further. One person, maybe he can make 5 cakes per day. I don't know, a medium. But 5 people can make 25 cakes or even more. Because the more that we are going to increase our resources, the more we can increase productivity. So we have to think that for us to grow, we need to reproduce. We have to make disciples. And then you say, okay, I want to make disciples and I have to make disciples, but how do I know which person I should use? Which person I should choose to carry out this task? I have doubts from one person to the next. How am I going to choose? Which one do I choose first? The Bible says in 1 Timothy 3, in the same way the deacons be honest, not of double tongue, and not drunken, and keeping the ministry of faith in a pure conscience. And they be proved first, and then they will serve if they are to be reprimanded. And so how do we choose people? We have to see who is more faithful, who is zealous, who has more results. We are not going to choose the person that is the friendliest, because many of the times the friendliest person, that because we think that if he's friendly and speaks to everyone, he has more results, but he doesn't. And many of the times it is that person that is there in the corner. Many of the times we don't even notice, and it might be that it is that person that gives more results. They are faithful, they are always in church, they come early, they are always following the newly converted. And so this is what we should seek in people. People that are faithful and have more results. And now we go to the principle of Pareto. And the principle of Pareto, it is a principle that was developed by an economist, an Italian economist. And he developed this in 1986. And he noticed that 80% of the Italian land only belonged to 20% of the population. So 20% of the millions of people that lived in Italy at that time, only 20% had 80% of the land, the greater part of the territory that belonged in Italy. And then he also saw in his own garden, in his own yard, that 20% of the plants and the seeds that he would plant would give 80% of the fruits. So back then he would think, and he did not know about this principle, so he thought that more or less it was the same. But no, through this principle we see that it is 20% of our resources, of our causes, that produce 80% of the results. And you can show the slide, please, slide number 4. So we can also apply this principle in our church and in our jobs. I cannot spend my time equally with everyone. Why? Because you don't have enough time. And if I want to have more results, I have to invest in the tree that gives me more fruits, in the people that give me more fruits. So I'm going to verify, I'm going to analyze who are the people that give more fruits, who are the people that produce more results, who in my leadership, in my team, that generates more results. And I'm going to spend the most time with these people. I'm going to spend 80% of my time with these people. I'm going to spend 80% of my money with these people. 80% of my resources with these people. If you have a shop, you should spend 80% of your time with 20% of the clients that buy more, that give you more income, that give you more results. And in the church, the same applies. So you have to look, who are these people, so that we can grow more. And there, we have to also spend time training them. It's not simply having communion. This is also important. But we have to pull towards them in the sense of teaching, training them, in taking them with us. For example, when you go out to open a family group, if you are an area leader and you have a few of your leaders and you see this person, he is capable of helping me here. I see the spirit inside them. They are zealous, they are faithful, their family group is always growing. So I'm going to take this person, and I am going to take this person when we inaugurate this family group, so that they can follow me, so that they can see what I do, so they too one day can do the work that I do now. And obviously, some people are going to make mistakes. Not everyone will be good, because all of us are people. Many of the times people give results during a specific time and then they don't. So we then have to bet on people, verify constantly and see what are the results people give. And only by this way we are going to grow. The secret for you that has a company, or you that is an entrepreneur and you started a while ago and you're opening a shop, the secret is not you working so much and doing everything by yourself because you do everything good. The secret is you looking for people that are prominent, preferably young people, so that you can place the culture and the vision of your company inside them from a young age, and pulling for them and training them so that they one day can be your right hand, and one day they can take on more work. So the principle of Pareto is spending 80% of your resources on 20% of the people that give us more results. Do you understand? So then we have other principles of leadership that are also very important, namely the chain of command. The chain of command, it consists in having all the positions, all the titles that exist in a company and in an organization. You know who is in charge, who leads, and who submits. Because many of the times, people start a project and they think about opening a new work and they focus on the financial part. How much is this going to cost? How much should I invest now? It's going to be expensive. Will I be able to do it or not? Or he goes immediately to the technical part. But then he forgets the most important part, which is the chain of command. Knowing who is in charge, who obeys. Because many of the times people do not know what are their functions. They do not know to whom they should give orders to and to whom they should submit to. And then it's a great confusion because no one knows what their function is. So now I'm going to ask them to place the next slide that shows in a very simple way organizational chart. And this, it shows the titles in a church or in a company, etc. And here we see it's in Excel format. It doesn't have to be like this, but it is the most common. And we always have a director. He directs a specific team. And this director should have a co-leader. In a family group, we have a leader, a co-leader, because if something happens, if leader, for example, is sick and is unable to give the family group, the co-leader takes on. So it is to exclude that it becomes empty and there is different problems. And then we have the collaborators that can be the brothers of the family group, for example. So it is necessary that it is very well established. Everyone has the knowledge of this and they know what their titles are and what their positions are. Do you know who you have to obey and on whom you have to give command? Do you know what your task is? Because it's not simply giving orders and obeying. We have to know what we have to do. We have to know what our job is. And there we go on the other part, that is the jobs and functions. That says that each title has a function. Each title has a function. And if I have a title of being a director of a department, for example, the worship team, I have a function that is different from the leader of a worship team or a collaborator or a musician. So each title has a specific function. And depending on the title that I have to fulfill with this function. So authority and the chain of command, it is not simply a paper. It is not having the organizational chart written on a piece of paper, who gives command and who obeys. I have to live this, and I have to verify that each person fulfills their tasks with the tasks that was established and was defined. Because then there is going to be an empty space and something is not going to be done. So each one of us, we have to fulfill our mission. Each one of us, we establish relations with our superiors, that with my superior I have to obey, and with those parallel to me, I'm not going to mix things, and with those people that are beneath me, we can say, I have to exercise my command, I have to take authority, I have to give instructions, and these people have to be accountable to me. So someone, when they take on a title, when you inside a company, you take on a title of a manager, when you take on a title of an employee in a company, you have to know that it's not simply taking that title and receiving a salary. No. You have to discipline yourself and be committed to fulfilling the task that was given to you. You have to be accountable as well. Through the formal meetings, you are accountable, or you have accountability over what you do. And you also have to accept being corrected when necessary, or promotions when it is also necessary. So for all of this, we have the formal meeting to verify that all of this is done, to fulfill with the organizational chart and the chain of command. We have the formal meeting. And the formal meeting, for everyone that is here in the leadership of the church, knows what it is. It is a meeting that happens with whoever is in leadership and their subordinates, the people to which he has a command over. And the person here that is in leadership, he can establish a day, a time, a place to fulfill this formal meeting. And we can go to the next slide. And in the formal meeting, it has a format that was pre-established, and we simply have to follow these steps. It starts with good news in order to encourage the brothers, in order to place a spirit of victory. What happened that was good during that week? Was there new people? There were salvations. And so we always start with the good news. And then we have problems and solutions. The person that is in leadership, he should make his collaborators used to the fact that not only they bring problems, but also solutions. Not only saying this happened, it is wrong. Okay, this happened, it's wrong. So how are we going to solve this? What are your suggestions? It is not simply giving problems, but you need to have a suggestion of solving that problems, because otherwise the person doesn't have responsibility over that thing. He has to be disciplined. I am not simply going to bring problems to my superior, to my leader. I have to raise his arms. I have to think as to how I can solve this problem, and in the formal meeting I will simply present the solutions and do what he decides. And then the third point is the accountability. Here we have all the reports and the minutes and the part that we say, I had this much finances and presences and salvations. And so here you give accountability to all the results that were obtained. And then we receive instructions. The leader is going to give instructions, strategies, new strategies, for example, tasks that need to be done. So the leader passes these instructions to their subordinates, and after the formal meeting, they would put this into practice. And lastly, which is the most important part, is expansion. Our apostle is always saying that we should not forget expansion. And so the person that is giving accountability in the formal meeting should not forget that they should always grow. The objective is to make disciples. It is to preach the gospel. It is to go further. So we cannot forget or be stagnant. Because if the strategy of expansion that was established a month ago is not working, we should think that maybe adapting another strategy in order for us to grow more. So this part is the most important. We cannot be fixed on the good news or the problems or any other topic, because the most important is always expansion. What are we going to do to grow more? Just like inside a company, they are always looking for marketing strategies and publicity and opening new shops and new works. In a company, they are always looking for marketing strategies and publicity for them to grow more, for them to have more results, for them to have more results and more profit. They cannot be stagnant in the strategies that they have already adopted. They have to think for the future. Otherwise, there is no success. They don't grow. So the formal meeting, does not have the purpose of preaching, but to be accountable. It is a work meeting that is based on the principle of authority. And it serves the purpose for us to impulse growth. Okay?
Depois, último princípio de liderança que eu queria falar hoje. Uma coisa muito importante que às vezes nós não...
And the last principle of leadership that I would like to speak today, it is something that is very important that sometimes we do not notice. Yesterday I spoke about the 5 levels of leadership, 3, 2, 1, level 5, and an organization, your company, cannot overcome the level of leadership of your leader. What does this mean? If you are a leader on level 3, you have a company, you produce results but do not multiply, you have difficulty in making disciples or getting people to open new works, and you are unable to do this. So your company is never going to be a company that multiplies. If you as a leader do not get on the step, your company is at maximum at the level where you are, because the leader is going to determine the success or the defeat of your organization or your company. So if you want your company or your organization to grow and multiply and to open new works and open new shops, I have to be a leader that also multiplies. I have to be able to reproduce. Do you understand? In other words, we never grow, our church, our family group does not grow more because we ourselves, us as leaders, we are unable to get past this level. So the first thing we have to do is work on ourselves in order to raise the people that work with us, raise our team. Because like I mentioned, leadership is through example. It's not simply saying, do this. If I do not do it, people are not going to follow. So I have to do things first, and then people that are beneath me are going to do things as well. And so this is very important. And we want our work, our shop, our church to grow more. We ourselves have to grow and increase our level of leadership. And when our leadership grows, also all our organization that depend on us is also going to grow. And so these are the different principles that we spoke about that I would like to show you on leadership, how to make disciples with people, the principle of Pareto, etc. And now I would like to talk about a few common mistakes in leadership, things that the leaders do without even noticing, and that we can work on this and change. And I would like to ask you to place the last slide, please. And the first common mistake that we do and do not even notice is simply giving people titles. In other words, I say, listen, you are now responsible for doing this. You are now a director of this department. You are the director of the Department of Intercession. Here is Mana Global. Here is the manual. And you go ahead, and next week we have the formal meeting, and I want to see who you have, and next week we talk. So it is someone that gives titles, delegates, but they abandon. In other words, it is someone that says, do this, but does not show how it is done. And so you will not be able to have results by doing this. And then you become angry as to why this person is unable to do things. If you simply give them a title and you abandon this person, you gave them a title, but you do not explain how things are done. It is like you taking a 2-year-old and telling them to go shopping and buy lunch. It cannot be done that way. Otherwise, do not be admired if the results are not very good. So, you have to know how to train people. It is not simply giving them the title and waiting people to do things good or in a good manner. The person will even feel bad because he has doubts, he doesn't want to bother, but he also doesn't know how things are done. So, it then creates a problem. So what should you do? You can nominate someone, but then you should explain what are their functions, what are their tasks, explain what this title implies, and you have to show this person how things are done. And it is convenient that this person knows how to do the task before getting the title. Many of the times, a pastor, he is consecrated because in actuality, in practice, he already did the work, but does not have the title. But then in cases where you have someone that does not know how to do things and they are more limited in the area aspect of people, and you need to train someone, okay, give them the title, but you have to explain and show how things are done. You have to follow these people and tell them, listen, you are now the director of the intercession department. Look here in our leadership, which are the people that you think they can help you, or see who wants to collaborate in this department. And we are going to see who are the good people to be your right-hand man and your co-leader. And you look, and then together we are going to exchange ideas in order to build the team of the department. And there the person feels free because he is following. He feels better because he is not simply given a task and given the fact for him to do what he wants. No, you don't abandon. Delegating is us borrowing, let's say, part of our authority so that someone is able to fulfill a task. But the responsibility is always the leaders. So you cannot abandon them. So this person is going to go out, and within that group of people that he has, he's going to look for the best to be part of the team, and then comes together with the leader, and together they are going to build that department. And then week after week we have the formal meeting, and the leader then he speaks, and they are going to communicate and see as to what they can do to make things better, and establish strategies and expand, and then things are going to work better. In this way, the subordinate learns how to make things and doesn't feel abandoned, and you too know that you have someone that you can count on, that can help you in this task. And then we have another common mistake of leadership, that not substituting people. Jesus said in John 15, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine owner. All the vine that do not give fruits, you remove them in order for them to give, and those who give fruit, you correct them in order to give more fruits. It is a biblical concept that we should change people when necessary. Many of the times we think, no, this person is good to do this task. But for some other reason, as time goes by, they do not give good results. They became stagnant. It is like they do not move that place week after week. The family group does not grow. It is stagnant. And so I have to change this person. I have to substitute this person. Otherwise, I am going to make this job grow cold, and it is like the worker that was not useful, and when the master came back, he did not have anything multiplied while the others multiplied, and that is why he was given to the tormentors. So we should know how to substitute, change when necessary, and it is not changing just because. You have to change or substitute with love. And if the person is not giving results in one place, I should analyze another place where they can give results, or they can leave that person for some time studying this and that, filling themselves in order for them to recompose. It is not that the person is useless or the person has no value. No, it's simply that at that time or that moment, that person is unable to produce as he should. And so in order for me not to let that tree dry out, and for them to continue bearing fruit, I have to change them. So we have to have all of this in our hearts. Substituting people, it is not something bad. It is not a taboo. It is something that is necessary to be done. And sometimes, obviously, it is difficult, but we always have to remember that it's not to hurt anyone, but for us to be able to continually grow. And if the person already has results and doing a good job, we are going to pull them more and more. We are going to give them more responsibility in order for these people to produce even more and to help more people. And if I have a leader of an area and I see that he is making things happen and is able to multiply and open more works, maybe I am going to pull them to become a block leader, because then they are going to be able to help in other areas as well, in other family groups. And so we have to be able and know that this is a Bible principle that God established and it needs to be done, okay? And so, well, I hope that you liked the seminar. We spoke about things that are very important. We spoke about important topics that I believe that each one of you can apply in your lives, in any area of your life. And do not forget, leadership is not imposed. Leadership is recognized. So in order for you to increase your leadership, you have to work on yourself, okay? Thank you very much for participating. Good afternoon to everyone.
Go and say,